G'day guys and welcome back to AdosTheGreat YouTube channel. So guys, in today's video I am giving you my way too early New South Wales Blues prediction. Now we have just reached the end of round 5 and I thought what a good time to give my opinion on the Origin squads. Now as this is the way too early predictions, I will give you these ones and then I will let you know closer to Origin the changes I've made. So, starting things off, let's just jump straight into my prediction. Obviously, you can see it on the screen, but I want to go through it one by one with you. And yeah, if you guys disagree with my takes, let me know. So, starting things off, I've gone James Tedesco. He's going to get the fullback position. There's no ifs, ands, buts, or maybes. The only issue is if he got injured or, there was a HIA issue. But other than that, he's got that fullback spot locked in. Now, the wingers, there's a few options you could actually go for. I think I've realistically gone the safer two. But, there's Daniel Tupou, who's been there for years. You've also got Daniel Joseph Suaalii. Campbell Graham is another option. I'd love to see that, but I just doubt it will happen. There's definitely several options you could go for. But the two I've gone with is Josh ADDO-CARR and Brian To'o. If Josh ADDO-CARR isn't there, then there's an issue in my opinion because he definitely deserves to be there. And Brian To'o has realistically changed the game for wingers. Man, he makes like 250 meters a game and 100 meters post contact. So, I definitely think he deserves to be in there as well. I personally think these are the two wingers that deserve to be there. I would have Joseph Suaalii in there as well. And if you argue that he should be there, I won't disagree. I definitely think he is another player that deserves an Origin debut. But for me, I think these are the two better players to have in the team. Obviously, I'm a Queensland supporter though. So I don't really care who they put there. I reckon we win regardless. But yeah, I think they're the two options that the Blues will go for at this stage right now. My centres, Latrell Mitchell and Tom Trbojevic. Latrell Mitchell, elite level centre. He is an elite level centre, and I personally do think he is a better centre than he is a fullback. However, I love Latrell at fullback for the Rabbitohs. I think he's the right fit there, regardless of what some Rabbitohs fans or NRL fans think. But at Origin level, he is 100% the best option for centre, as well as Tom Trbojevic. Like, James Tedesco isn't giving up that fullback spot anytime soon. And you can't have Turbo or Latrell out of the team, in my opinion. So they both deserve to play in the centres there. My 5'8", Nicho Hynes. At the start of the year or prior to the start of the season, I had Matt Burton there. But I just don't think you can leave Nicho Hynes out of the team. Bit unfortunate for Matt Burton and Jerome Luai, who I will talk about a little bit later when we discuss the bench. But I think Nicho Hynes definitely has to be there. And you can argue with me in the comments about it, but we saw the impact he had on Cronulla his first game back. And I just think the Blues squad needs a player like Nicho Hynes in the lineup with Cleary. I think that is just to team up and to go up against a player like Cameron Munster. I think these two are definitely two players that you'd have probably winning over Cameron Munster, let's be honest. So, and Nicho Hynes, definitely my 5'8", and my halfback, obviously Nathan Cleary. He's not going to be out of that Blues squad unless of injury. Same with James Tedesco. Those two players are a certainty, as well as some of the forwards I'm about to talk about. My first certainty in the forwards is Payne Haas. Definitely deserves to be in the team, and there's no other option for a starting front rower. You could say Regan Campbell-Gillard or Junior Barlow, but Payne Haas is leagues above any other front rower in the NRL, and you cannot change my mind. He's the best front rower I think we've seen in a long time, and he'll be that Blues front rower. It's another lock. I think if I'm being honest, I think there's 5 players you lock into this Blues squad. The rest, you can make arguments for other players. My second front rower is Jake Trbojevic, and I originally had Regan Campbell-Gillard starting over him. I just think RCG's been outstanding, but Jake has been really good as well, and defensively, he is everything you want in your team. So I think he definitely deserves to be there with Payne Haas. My dummy half, I have gone with Damien Cook. I just don't think we've seen the same Appy Coruscant on the Tigers. I don't think he will get named in the Blues squad, but I think Damien Cook. I think Damien Cook's been one of the Rabbitohs' better players to start the season. He's running the ball a lot more than he has been over the last few years, and defensively, he has been outstanding, missing minimum tackles. I think his tackle percentages at like 96%, so that's insane. I think he made 45 or 46 tackles on the weekend and missed none. So I definitely think he needs to be in the team. He can provide a spark in offense and defense. So yeah, I think Damien Cook is the front runner for dummy half at the moment. The only other player I'd have an argument for at this point of time is Reece Robson. All right, my second rowers, I've gone with Cameron Murray, another player that I think is a lock in this team. You cannot take him out. I think the 5 players, we'll talk about another one soon, but at least the 4 players that I've spoken about for now, James Tedesco, Nathan Cleary, Payne Haas, and Cameron Murray, are the first 4 players that will be in this side. No arguments whatsoever by anyone. Cameron Murray, just an outstanding player. You know, he's a future leader for representative football and just such an outstanding bloke. So he definitely deserves to be there in the second row. My other second rower is Liam Martin. Now, while I do think he is sort of a lock for the Origin squad, you could make an argument for other players over him. You honestly could. So, you know, I definitely think he will be there, and I definitely think he will be starting. But, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if fans argued that there should have been another player named over him. I would not be surprised. But for me, Liam Martin's got to be there. And finally, Isaiah Yeo, the lock of locks, literally. He's another player that you cannot substitute out. I don't care what you say. He is locked into that starting spot. All right, my bench. Now, several players. There are so many players that could be, named in the utility role. You've got Matt Burton, you've got Jerome Luai, Reece Robson, Appy Coruscant even. There's so many to name there. But I have gone with Jack Whiten. I just think he offers a lot. He can fill in at fullback, in the centres, in the halves, at dummy half, even in the second row if needed. Like, he's just such a versatile player. I think he needs to be in that team. We've seen how much the Raiders miss him and the impact he has on teams. So I definitely think Jack Whiten has to be in the team. Now, this next one is arguably the most interchangeable player in my team. There are so many players you could have over him. I just think he deserves a crack finally. He's stood up. He's been the player that the Rabbitohs needed him to be, and that's Keon Kolol-Matangi. I personally think he deserves his Blues debut, and I think he will get it. However, if you had Hamole Olakau'atu over him, he hasn't played much yet, so I couldn't really name him, but Sean Lane, Hudson Young, Matt Butcher even, like there's a lot of players you could make an argument for, but I just think, and it's a little bit of bias coming out of me, 100%, but I do think Keon Kolol-Matangi definitely deserves to make his Origin debut in 2023. All right, next up, Regan Campbell-Gillard definitely deserves a spot in the team. However, another player that if you disagreed with me on and said, there should be another player in the team over him, I wouldn't be upset. Just let me know who the player is. But I think him and Junior Barlow definitely deserve the last 2 spots on the bench. And you've got a really good bench. Like Jack Whiten can cover lock, second row, as I stated before, pretty much any position on the field. Keon Kolol-Matangi can cover front row, second row. He can do a lot as well. Same with Regan Campbell-Gillard. If you needed him at lock, I reckon you could get him there as well. So, these players are very versatile and can play several positions. That's why I've gone with the players I have. And finally, my 18th man is Hamole Olakau'atu. definitely think he deserves a spot in the team somewhere. I don't think he will be in the 17, though. I think he'll be on the extended bench. Yeah, that is my 18-man Blues squad, guys. Some honourable mentions, obviously Joseph Suaalii, Matt Burton, Jerome Luai, Reece Robson, um, Hudson Young. Like there's a lot of it's so hard to pick an Origin squad this year. I'll hopefully have my Queensland one up sometime this week. But that meant, as a Queensland supporter, there are so many options you can go with on that team. Just know that I will be naming Jermaine Hopgood. I've just got to figure out who I'm taking it to get him in. But that is going to wrap it up for me today, guys. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the footy this weekend. Stay tuned for my Queensland team list coming out this week, hopefully, or next week technically because it's Sunday today. But yeah, thank you all so much for tuning in. And as always, my friends, I will see you in the next one. Thanks, guys.